hair's all messed up. Jesus Christ. That looks terrible. Just as about terrible as the current state of the Sony universe. I mean, just a terrible way that these movies have been going. Craven just came out. By the way, welcome back to the Talk No Jutsu podcast. We're going to be talking about the Sony universe, saying our farewells, our goodbyes, and our reviews, our overall reviews on how these movies did. Because they, except for one, I would say two, in my opinion, did very terribly. But yeah, Sony did announce that they were done with this verse so far. I don't even think there's even a plan for another Venom movie. There hasn't been any announcement.
No, the announcement is that this is over. That Craven was the end of the Sony's. I forgot what they called it. The Sony Spider-Man. I forgot what they called it. The Sony universe of Spider-Man movies is now officially over with Craven, and Craven is definitely a low point of the film, of all the films. I think they went like 0 for 9. Right.
I think so. Okay. My opinion is I feel like Venom 1 and Venom 2 were very good.
They weren't though.
I think they were.
Remember in Venom 1 when the Venom symbiote got on the little girl, and they waited 3 months before it came to the United States, but that little girl didn't die the whole time she had the symbiote on her. And even though they established that the symbiote couldn't live without, the host being perfect, yeah, that happened in that movie.
Aside from all those plot holes that there was in the movie, I will admit those first two movies definitely had a lot of plot holes.
The writing and the acting was terrible.
I think the writing was terrible. I don't think the acting was.
The ADR, Tom
Hardy definitely carried on.
The ADR was horrible. You couldn't understand nothing they were saying. Venom or Riot, CGI, you couldn't tell. We're past that.
But it's time to say goodbye to Sonyverse. It didn't do that well. We can all agree that none of these movies were anything good, and they just didn't live up to everyone's expectations, and they deserve to die. I think I'm not too upset that they announced that they're done with it. Just because I think, for me personally, Venom: The Last Dance left a bad taste in my mouth. It was not good at all.
Yeah, it was a terrible movie. Almost as bad as the other Sony movie, Madam Web. So, yeah. I will say that those movies, they're fun. At least 1 and 2 are fun. 3 had its fun moments. None of these movies are good, but you didn't go into them expecting them to be good either. But for some reason, Sony kind of did expect for them to be good. If you watched Venom 3, and then you've seen the black guy, the Doctor Strange guy, what's his character? Mordo. When you watch Mordo,
we're gonna call him Mordo
in Venom 3, he definitely thinks that he's in a real movie. Tom Hardy knows he's not in a real movie though. So, but just overall, what would you say for the history of these Sony movies? So it started in 2018 with Venom, and what would you say overall? We had almost a decade of these movies. What would be your overall retrospective on what we got with these?
If I'm being completely honest, this may be a little bit of a weird take. I think I see what they were trying to do. I think they were going with the same thing that a lot of companies have been doing recently, is giving villains backstories. Like, oh, these characters aren't just bad people. They have motives. They had a story. They had a life before they turned into, in this case, Spider-Man's villains. And then they became what they are as we know them in the comics, villains that were there to cause damage and cause harm to other people. I see what they were doing. They were probably trying to give them a good story, so that way when they introduced either their Spider-Man or Andrew Garfield, which I think they did confirm Andrew Garfield's universe, that's what we were watching.
They had the Spider-Man in Madam Web.
Yeah, that is true. But I think I see what they were doing. They wanted to give them a good backstory for these villains, so that way when they showed up with this fighting Spider-Man, we weren't just rushed with a story. But the thing is, these stories still felt very rushed, and they still felt very out of place because there was no Spider-Man. And they did hint to Spider-Man being in their universe in the trailers always, and then when it was time to see it, there was no Spider-Man.
Peter Parker was definitely in Madam Web as well.
He's a baby. I don't count it. He's just a belly. He's just an May, and that's it. I think we don't even see her give birth. I think
but they did say the line. They said the line.
This is so hard to talk about because it's so terrible. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes has it at an 11. At 11, that's just.
I'll say that the whole giving villains a backstory thing, that only worked for one villain, and that was Thanos. The thing is, these people are objectively terrible. I mean, Venom is literally a walking death machine that has no remorse for anything. Craven is a bloodthirst. I mean, Craven literally turns himself into a lion sometimes just because he wanted to.
They're not supposed to have good stories.
They don't have.
You're not supposed to feel bad.
They don't have depth.
Yeah.
None of these people have depth of character. And then when you try to add these characters to have depth of character, and then you don't give them a Spider-Man to bounce off of, then you get what we have here. Craven is not a good guy. I mean, it's just simply not. And now you got to. My issue with these movies is, okay, no Spider-Man for whatever reason. You decided not to do Spider-Man, except for Madam Web. They gave us a little Spider-Man there. We'll put up. I mean, I'm pretty sure y'all didn't see Madam Web clearly because it didn't make any money, so nobody's seen Madam Web. So we'll put up the Spider-Man that they decided to show in Madam Web. But my point is this: is if you're gonna do it, Sony, just commit to it. Like the Lizard was in Venom 3, but he wasn't the Lizard.
He wasn't the Lizard. He was a terrible father.
He wasn't the Lizard at all, but it was the same actor. But it's like, if you're going to do that, then do that.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to go all out, go all out. If you want, Craven could have fought Venom. Yeah. Like, that could have worked. I mean, it would have still been not good.
It was definitely a lot of missed opportunities for sure. And that's why I was saying that there was a lot of chances where they did have a Spider-Man character or even Spider-Man himself in the trailers, or like at least in the background or something like that, but they just missed the mark. And I don't know if it was reshoots. I don't know if maybe they did it on purpose. Maybe they filmed everything and maybe did those shortcuts or tidbits where Spider-Man was going to be mentioned, and then they was just for promotional reason, and then at the end they just cut it out. My issue with the depth, I think one character they did terrible on, even though I still like the movie, is Venom Let There Be Carnage. Cletus Cassidy is not supposed to care about anyone. They made him care about his girl.
Yeah,
that should not have happened.
He didn't care about it. He threatened to kill her like 7 times.
But then he tried to go against Carnage. And in the comics and even in the shows, he is so far gone from that care of anything and anyone. He just wants to see blood. That's the whole point. Carnage is what that means. But they try to give him you should feel bad for him because he cares. He has a soul. But it's, again, like you said, one of those characters where they're just evil.
Yes, these characters are just evil. Very rarely does the gimmick of giving the character depth work. And obviously, I'm going to go ahead and blame Venom 1 because that movie made $1 billion. Why? I don't know. I think we all were sad during that time. That was pre-COVID, though. It was in 2018. Mm-hmm. For some reason, I guess the vibes were just high for Venom. And
you don't think it was good? Why do you think it's not good? I want you to tell me. I liked it. I liked that we got a full. I was always hoping as a kid to see a full Venom movie with just Venom and no Spider-Man, only because Venom is such a good character, and even the Venom comics do pretty well. Like, you know what I mean? They have pretty good runs.
The thing is, Venom is good when he bounces off of Spider-Man. No Spider-Man, there's no reason. Venom could withstand on his own. I mean, the first Venom movie is entertaining, and then also we got that Eminem soundtrack.
Man,
but it's
Venom.
it's not $1 billion movie. Tom Hardy was fun. Mm-hmm. Like, it's entertaining, sure. It's just slop, though. It's just CG slop, kind of like the Michael Bay Transformers movies. Especially when they
Transformers, because that's gonna be a whole other thing. We're doing a Transformers episode for sure about that whole universe.
Yeah, you remember what is it when they start doing the liquid transformations?
They don't even have a name for that. They just mold.
So that's just what the end of Venom #1 is with Riot versus.
I couldn't even see it, even in theaters when I was watching it. I was dark. Like, "What is going on?"
Dark.
Like, somebody was just playing with the exposure settings, and they're like, this will be good enough. If they can't see, they won't see how bad this fight is, because all it was just, like you said, a CGI blob for Venom.
Yeah.
And then Mobius.
It's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time.
Morbid.
That.
So overall, you guys
terrible.
You can see no hits for the Sony Spider-Man universe.
And they kept trying. I will give them that. They kept trying.
They did not.
They kept trying, as in, like, they just filmed it and were like, one of these might hit. But they just missed the mark, like you said, with all of them. I mean, it gets to the point where you're spending so much money. How much are all these movies? Like, do you have that up?
All over $100 million
to make, and nobody thought to. Now,
Venom did carry card carry, but Madam Web flopped miserably. Craven has flopped miserably. Morbius flopped miserably. Venom: The Last Dance flopped miserably. No, it did.
Did it?
Yeah.
What was the final sales on that?
So 2 out of 6, 2 out of 8. What? Yeah, 2 out of 6 flopped badly. So for Sony, I'm glad they're giving it up. It's past due. But my issue is just, like you said, they left stuff on the table. They genuinely could have built something outside of what they wanted. And what's funny is they did this before. Back in 2012 with the Amazing Spider-Man, or 2014, they were going to make several movies. They was going to make a Sinister Six movie without Spider-Man again. But then, the whole debacle happened with Marvel and Disney and all of that. But they didn't learn their lesson, and they made some money with Venom, and then I guess they got too greedy. And it's just sad. I'm just glad it's over. I'm glad I don't have to be subjected to these movies anymore. I mean, literally, Craven, like,
these reviews for that last Venom movie are insane. I have them popped up. It was so pointlessly silly and loud, so very loud, and very much aware of how silly and loud it was, because it seems to be the desperately stupid goal of these films. They hit the mark, though. The thing is, and even the positive reviews are just saying that, it's just lazy. And that's what it was. It's all just a cash grab at the end of the day. I don't even know why they released Craven. They should have just been like, it's just raps. I mean, we filmed it, but just it is what it is. Take the L.
There's a scene in Craven where the girl is standing talking, and instead of cutting that scene out, they paused it, did a freeze frame, removed her mouth, and digitally put a new mouth on her to match the line.
Yeah, these movies suck. Did you see The Chameleon?
I did see The Chameleon. Well, I mean, he was an integral part of the film.
I don't like the way he looked. I saw the photos.
He was an integral part of the movie.
It was not well done. I don't like it just looked disgusting. I mean, there are also, the thing is, there are certain characters I feel like should stay in the comics just because they don't translate well over.
I mean, Chameleon he just can't.
He could have looked better, yes, but I feel like there are characters you can't just put on the screen and expect people to be like, I know who that guy is, because there are people who are watching.
Well, that's the point. That's the point. Craven can't carry his own. Craven doesn't have enough.
He wasn't made for that.
Craven.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah, there we go.
What is that? A person who is we're looking at the Chameleon pictures. The person the average person who's coming in to watch a Sony movie about these characters is gonna see that guy and be like, why does he look like that? They don't understand the way he's supposed to look in the comics, and that's the part where you get that disconnect where people just start hating on the movies. And even the comic people that read the comics, they have a reason to hate the movies, but now you're getting other people who aren't familiar with the source material to start hating it.
Who is this?
It looks like Chameleon. A combination from the Alien movie. Like, it looks like one of the engineers.
Not to mention the rhino in the film.
That was silly.
The problem is these characters just can't. Craven can't carry his own movie. Venom can carry his own movie, but not really. You run out of stuff quickly with Venom, with no Spider-Man. Obviously, Venom has his foil with Carnage. I was hoping they would do an anti-Venom at some point. We did get a couple of white symbiotes in The Last Dance.
Yeah.
But it just, or an Agent Venom also would be cool. But again, with no Spider-Man, it kind of falls flat. So ultimately, I'm glad that it's done. But where are we going now, though? Like, will Sony? What do we know what they're trying to do? Like,
No, there's nothing. There's nothing. They announced they're done, and there's just nothing for now. I I hope they're taking it back to the drawing board. I also hope that whoever's on that drawing board is new and not any of these
I
old
think
people.
Avi Arad, I think that he's out.
Okay, that's perfect. We're happy.
I don't know. He might,
Secretly from behind the lines, ruining movies, and be like, "Oh,
I mean,
that looks like a good storyline."
It's so simple.
Cut it.
Andrew Garfield could come back to be Spider-Man.
I don't think he's gonna want to. I know he wants to, but I don't think he's gonna.
Money.
Yeah, but I don't. I think it's time to say goodbye to Andrew Garfield. He was great in his little cameos.
Either way,
but
any Spider-Man, you put Spider-Man in a movie, it's gonna make money.
yeah,
That's just point blank. Period. They can say they don't want to conflict with Peter Parker. They could do a Ben Riley. They could do Miles Morales, even though, whatever. They even could do a Spider-Gwen, Spider-Woman. If they, not the Madam Web.
yeah. Let's
Spider-Woman.
not do Madam Web again.
But
Let's
they have a plethora of options. They literally could do another Peter Parker. I mean,
Just restart it.
Nobody would care.
Yeah.
And it would print money from Sony's perspective. I'm pretty sure with the way how the multiverse has been established, even though I dislike the multiverse, but the greater audience can understand and fathom two Spider-Mans and not be confused. And if they were confused, they could just do Miles. Or they could do a Ben Riley, if that really was a problem. They could do 2099. There's a plethora of things that they could do and make their universe work if they wanted to continue to make their own movies outside of what Disney has.
Yeah, I think I hate to blame Disney. Well, I don't hate to blame Disney, but Disney just made something so good with the Thanos line and plot and everything. It was so good.
An additional episode.
It made everyone else rush their own universes.
That's
you know
what
what I
happened
mean?
before.
So it's just it made Sony realize we can make money. Let's just throw all these characters that we have legal seizure over, and let's just do it and run. And it just blew up in their face because
I will say that Sony is a different entity from Disney. Disney, tons of money. Sony.
Also doing a bad job. We're gonna talk about that.
Sony, yeah. Sony doesn't have the luxury of a Disney. Sony obviously still has a lot of money, but Disney has a plethora of revenue streams. Sony really has Sony Pictures. They have PlayStation, and then they have their
cameras and
stuff like
equipment.
that. But they don't have a massive, supply of money that would be Disney.
Yeah.
So a big thing of why they're making these movies is because when they make these movies and they release them, they get 100% of everything. When they make a Spider-Man movie in conjunction with Disney, they only get a percentage. They don't get the full thing, and they have to fund portion of the creation of that movie. So obviously they would want to make as many movies in-house as possible. But the problem is they're making these movies and just ruining their reputation. They've done definitely more harm than good. It's laid out. It's very simple. Use a Spider-Man, give them those villains, and that's it. But instead, we got 3 Venom movies, a Morbius movie that nobody asked for, a Craven movie that nobody asked for, a Madam Web movie that nobody asked for. And we could count the Into the Spider-Verse movies, which are some gems, except now part 2 of Across the Spider-Verse may not be happening ever. It's just, it's tough. Yeah. It's like Sony, they just can't get it together. And what a pathetic way to go out with Craven. I'll just say that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the sad thing is though, even if Craven, let's just say for some miracle, Craven would have done good, I think they would have done another Venom move where they would have been like, okay, well, that means people love Craven. Let's just do another story and just threw something together. Maybe we would have just had a little up and down, possibly, or maybe just a down. From there, there was nowhere else to go. Even with Craven, there wasn't anywhere to go after that movie. There probably was, but
the only way for these guys to go is to fight Spider-Man.
At the end, and that's it. Sony, you should have put Spider-Man in there. That was our humble suggestion.
Or it would have made more sense for Craven to fight Venom. Craven v. Venom. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, Craven does always go into other villains.
For what they were building, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Craven could fight. Like Craven could have been their guy if that's what they wanted. Obviously, I don't like that, but he could have fought Morbius. He could have fought Venom.
Yeah.
He could have took down the whole Spider Society in Madam Web. That's just a spitball idea, but it's
what
like
they could have done last minute to save.
They didn't try. And my big thing though, truly, is with these movies, they try to make them too serious. Like Craven, they literally was like, we're making a movie, you know, instead of going, like they really tried to make a movie like serious.
Yeah, I feel
with heart.
Yeah, I feel bad for these actors though, because we talked about this one time, and these people think like they're almost part of like still the Disney universe, and they think they're gonna be like rewarded with a good movie with a good payout and whatnot. I'm sure they still got paid, but like it's just the ultimate letdown to these actors.
But it's ruining their career a little bit.
It just makes them look bad too, because now it's like, why'd you accept that job? Right. Obviously money, but
my point is just that these movies could definitely do a Fast and Furious route of. Like it's like Craven, in Craven, the guy literally turns into a rhino on command. They don't explain how he can do that. You could literally go way more crazier than that. You could have Craven turn into you could do whatever you want in these movies and people wouldn't question it. Just make it fun. That's why I do kind of like the Venom movies a little bit. They did venture onto the fun side, even though they kind of went more silly in terms of their fun, like with Tom Hardy and Venom. They do more silly things,
especially in that third movie. That third movie, it was just a joke. That was,
but
that
not
third
in a
movie,
good way, though. You know?
Yeah, it didn't even take itself seriously, and it knew it too. We talked about this,
but they still tried to give it like a coherent story. That's my point. Like if you're gonna do it, like in Fast and Furious, they go into space. Like we know that's stupid, but they know it's stupid. But they know it's stupid too. So go all out. Don't try to make a movie with a coherent story and heart. First of all, none of these characters have heart.
Because they're villains.
Venom literally tries to take over the world every time he makes an appearance. Or at least tries to kill very people and their loved ones. So, like, there's no need for none of that. Just give us a fun, super villain story. Like, let these people be the villain. Let these people try to do what they're doing if you're going to do that. But thankfully, it's over. It's sad because I love Spider-Man. Probably he's one of my favorite characters. I know he's one of your favorite characters. And to see his rogues gallery just get humiliated like this, I mean, I know the meme, it's Morbin time, blew up, but I mean, we've set Morbius back by years. I mean, nobody's
not recovering. No one's gonna want to.
He's turned into a meme. Like it's Morbin
and the
time.
fact that Sony thought that was a good thing and re-rolled out, and they lost money on re-rolling out the movie too. I feel like Sony was also just disconnected maybe from the audience itself. Just to think that was a good idea to re-roll out Morbius because of the memes.
Well, they seen the meme and they was like, "Oh yeah, they gonna love this." So
let's put
it back out.
It was terrible.
Yeah, they're gonna love this one. No, but we didn't love it.
Nobody
watched it the first time, and they definitely didn't watch it the second time.
I think less people watched it probably.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, it's time to say bye to the Sony universe. We're gonna miss.
Well, we're not gonna miss
none
nothing.
of it.
No, we're not gonna miss any.
Gonna say goodbye. It was not a nice run. There's nothing positive to say as we say goodbye.
We never even got a white logo on Venom.
That also sucks too. I
forgot
about that. Yeah, we got white veins.
Yeah, but we didn't get the white spider logo on Venom. That's a huge.
You can use
sin.
your imagination. Turn the veins into.
And remember, we was almost at the cusp once they pulled Spider-Man back from the MCU.
And then they just ruined it with throwing him back into his own universe and then just forgot about it.
No, I'm saying, remember they had said the deal was over? After No Way Home, they was like, we're not doing it no more. But then obviously they made their differences. But
that's money,
yeah. But I don't know. It just sucks. These movies, obviously nobody expected them to be good, but it's like it's just a sin for what they're putting out on film, especially when what they could have been. They wasn't working with much to begin with. I mean, you're making a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man. So you're already behind the 8 ball, and then you're just going to continue to make meaningless decisions. Venom, Morbius. I mean, I don't. What do you? I mean, where do we even go from here?
Nowhere. We just say
Nowhere.
goodbye. We wrap it up and goodbye,
it up.
Sony Universe. Perhaps back to
Now
the drawing
y'all
board.
get it together for Across the Spider-Verse though.
They're not going to.
They need to.
Give you all another episode dedicated to the Miles Morales and all that commotion.
They said they haven't even started voice lines for the movie for Across the Spider-Verse Part 2.
From what I heard, they had already shot it and they're redoing it.
That's what I'm saying.
So
I
much
think
information going on here.
It's just a big mess.
Let's just not even be hopeful for that movie. I feel like if we're gonna say goodbye, let's just say goodbye to that, because the actor's been getting into some weird stuff too as well. Because what is he doing with all these like girls? He's just that's not good. Stop, please. If you by chance watch this video, you gotta stop, man. You're ruining the one semi-good movies that we got going on right now from Sony.
I think he's locking in now, though, for sure.
We'll find out in a couple months if nothing else happens.
At this point, I don't even know if Across the Spider-Verse Part 2 is even coming out.
Yeah, it keeps getting delayed over and over. Those movies were good, though. I like them.
Really good movies.
I think if they put as much dedication as they did in those, the Sony universe could have had a chance. I don't think it would have been good, but I think it could have had a better chance. And hopefully, if way in the future they try again, hopefully they take it serious that time. Like you said, hopefully they give those Rogues Gallery a definite way better story. Or maybe not even try the whole Rogues Gallery. Just give them a Spider-Man, give them a villain, A to B type plot line when it comes to movies. Just, hey, the bad guy's a bad guy. He just wants to kill and murder and do this damage to Peter Parker, and it is what it is. Let's just move in.
That's all you want. That's all you want. I mean,
yeah.
That's what we come here for, to see Spider-Man villains do Spider-Man villain things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of them don't have a lot of depth. The only person I would say has depth is Norman, kinda, but not really. When he becomes full Goblin, he doesn't really. In the comics, Norman has no depth. He's just a straight bad guy villain. Especially in the Ultimate comics, which I know they take inspiration for both, but especially in the Ultimates, he's literally just pure
that
evil.
Guy.
He's pure evil.
He's just like, I have to do what I have to do.
He's literally pure evil in the Ultimates.
Yeah.
I would say that the more nuanced version of Norman has come from the Sam Raimi movies and then the Spider-Man PS4 and PS5 game. That Norman has some nuance, but in the comics, Norman's he's a psychopath.
Yeah. It's what drugs will do to you. Kids,
yes,
stop doing drugs or don't do them at all.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's time to say goodbye.
Yeah. Oh, or they could have easily did a Superior Spider-Man.
No.
Depth right there.
No. No. Sony, stop touching our characters, okay? Either sell them to Disney or give or give them to somebody who knows what they're doing. Honestly, I would just prefer if Sony just stays out of it. Just run out your time that you have legally with these characters.
Well, legally, they own them though.
Or sell them, then make some money off of that and recuperate your losses. But just give it to somebody who's gonna be able to take care of these characters in a proper way. That won't alienate fans and possibly new fans to these characters, because like you said, even Mobius is going to be suffering for a while. Yeah, no one's going to be able to take that character serious for a while, and that's just going to suck, because they are good characters.
They are good characters when they're inappropriately used, like the villains that they are. They're not good people.
Yeah,
none of them are. It's just sad to see.
It's not sad to see. It's time for them to go. It's time for them to go. It is what it is. Goodbye, Sony Universe.
Yeah, well, we won't miss you at all. But no. Yeah,
we will not rewatch.
Well, we may.
We'll rewatch Venom 1 for laughs, and maybe show our children what not to do.
Sure. Yeah,
with when you have creative control over things. But yeah, goodbye, Sony Universe. And
good riddance.
Good riddance. Yeah, it is what it is. This has been another episode of Talk No Jutsu Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Commentary.
This is not the end of the Sony talk, though. I mean, we're going to be going more into Spider-Man, but obviously he's in the MCU. And also the older movies aren't part of the Sony Spider-Man universe. So those will get their own video talked about. And then I'm just glad that we don't have to talk about
anymore.
Yeah.
That's it. That was the last time. And all these other people can be free from these images in their mind.
Yeah.
But hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah. It's
Adios.
Morbin time.
It's not Morbin time. We're done with this
We're gonna
Morbin.
morb after this.
What does that even mean?